Hi, my name is Chris Ryan and you've joined me here at the Belfry in the Telemed Performance Centre, and in this video we're going to give you 3 key things that you can do in practice and on the course to help you hit, I should say, some better, more accurate short irons into the green. In the corner of the screen, before we get into this video, you should have my Facebook, my Instagram and my Twitter details, so please make sure you also go ahead and follow me on all of those. So I've got a pitching wedge in my hand and we're talking about these shorter irons, so this is maybe going to be pitching wedge, 9 iron, maybe working through into an 8 iron, and we're just going to go through 3 things that you can do on the course which might help you hit that ball a little bit closer. It might give you a slightly shorter putt and you might make a few more birdies. Now, basically the technique is going to be very similar for a short iron as it would be for a mid iron and for a long iron and even into your 3-wood and drivers. There's obviously a few setup changes with the driver, but we don't really change the whole technique too much when we're hitting short irons. But there's a few things that we can maybe do which might differ from maybe hitting a 6 iron, which I say is going to help you get that ball a little bit closer. We are certainly after a little bit more accuracy here. We are not really looking to hit these balls as hard as we can. If I've got my pitching wedge and I can't get there, that is what my 9 iron is for. So let's go through, first of all, a setup thing, and then we're going to do a couple of swing things. So first of all, in the setup, and this is point number 1, is I want you to make sure or feel as if you're setting about 55%, maybe even 60% of your weight on your lead leg. So for me, that's my left leg. And I really want to do that through my hips and my legs. So if I take a normal setup, and I'm going to try and find a 50-50 sort of balanced setup first of all, so that would be 50-50. Now there's a couple of different ways I can move my weight forward. I could use my upper body and I could lean over this way. What you'll see is that's put a sort of definite an angle in my upper body, so that's maybe not the correct way. What I would like you to do is to feel maybe that the hips and the knees are a little bit more target side. So you can see how just making that little move there sets my hips a little bit more forward, sets my knees a little bit more forward, and that's going to certainly put about 50, 55, 60% of weight onto my lead leg. That's really where I want you to start when you're hitting these short irons. From there, I want you to feel that you're going to stay pretty centered over the golf ball. Don't really want any lateral movement. I don't really want these hips sliding away from the target. Certainly don't want the head moving away from the target. We're trying to set up a little bit similar to impact. This is not something you do with maybe a driver, but with a short iron, we are going to make a shorter swing, which we'll come to in a moment. But the first point there would be set 55 or 60% of weight onto your lead leg. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is to try and make what you feel is a 3/4 swing. Now, some golfers are going to try and think of this as maybe 3/4. Other people might think of this more as a percentage. It might be, making a swing at 80% speed or 70% speed. To me, I like to think of it as a 3/4 length swing where I feel my arms don't travel quite as far. They're going to feel they're a little bit shorter. So let me just go ahead and hit one of those for you, and you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to do these first 2 points. I'm going to set 60% of weight onto my lead side, and I'm just going to make this golf swing feeling that it's about 3/4. I'm going to feel I swing my arms a little bit shorter than I would normally. Okay, and that's certainly the distance replicated the length of my swing. I know how far I can hit this pitching wedge, and that did land maybe 15, 20 yards shorter. So the purpose of this really, as you can probably imagine, is just to get a little bit more control over how we deliver the club and a little bit more control over the direction that the golf ball is going. We know that if we've got 130 yards, most of the golfers watching the video will be able to get to that flag. So we're not really looking at hitting this ball as hard as we can. We're looking at getting the ball as close as we can, and that might mean taking a little bit of length and a little bit of speed out of the golf swing in order to increase the accuracy. This brings us on to point number 3. And point number 3 is I want you to feel on the way through that your arms are a little bit more connected to your upper body. So my rib cage or my chest. What we aren't really going to find here is we aren't going to find, hopefully, we aren't going to find the arms separating too much on the way through. So you wouldn't really see many elite golfers trying to play a nice, controlled pitching wedge shot where the finished position would look like this. Where the hands are really high, the club's wrapped around my neck, and my arms are definitely worked away from my chest. What you might see is a finished position which looks a little bit more like this. Where certainly I feel my arms and my chest and my upper body have worked a little bit more in sync with each other. They've matched up a little bit more. My arms haven't really accelerated too much off my chest. And again, all this is really trying to do is give you a little bit more control over the direction that the golf ball is going. If we can do this, we're probably also going to find that we get a little bit more control over how we strike the golf ball in terms of the consistency of the club delivery. If we can consistently deliver the club, we should be able to produce the right ball flight, the right strike, the right distance, the right direction, etc., etc. So it's all really about trying to add some control into these shots and take out some of the things that might add distance, but also they might add inconsistency. So I'm just going to hit one trying to put all those three things together. I've got my target out there. It's the 150 board. I'm not going to reach that 150. I want to try and hit this about 135, which is a comfortable wedge for me. I can probably get this wedge out there about 145. So I'm trying to take about 10 yards off. And this is certainly something I'd do on the golf course. So I'm going to go weight 60% left. I'm going to try and make a 3/4 swing. And I'm going to feel like my arms and my chest are a little bit more connected through into the follow through. And I'll certainly be pretty happy with that. It's gone pretty much the right distance, came down right on line, and that's certainly a shot I'll be happy with on the golf course. So I made some adjustments to my technique to get my ball closer to the target, and that's really the purpose of this video, is that when you get that ball within range of the green and you feel it's a short iron, maybe look at how you're going to adjust the technique. Not necessarily the technical side of it, you're not changing planes or grips or deliveries, but just a few things that you might want to do to help that ball end up closer to the green flag, even. Right, hopefully that helps. Hopefully you'll make some more birdies, you'll get the ball closer and you'll have some shorter putts, and that will hopefully help you lower those scores. So 3 things, if you can do those, you will hopefully hit that ball closer, and that is really what we're trying to do in this video. Thank you very much for watching. The usual stuff is down below. There's a like button down there. There is also a comments box, and please make sure you also subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely free, and there's well over 200 videos on there now. So make sure you go and check out some of those, and hopefully, as I say, you'll play some better golf as a result. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.